going to take you through the upper body exercises. Just a few things about resistance training. All of the exercises we're going to do, you can do without a band. So form is always most important. So when you're in class or whether you're doing these workouts from home, if you start to feel your form go, always drop the band and stick with form over having that extra resistance. You're still going to get a great workout. The number that we do doesn't matter. So once again, kind of going back to form is what matters. We want you to do it correctly. You know, in classes, we're going to be doing counts of 10, counts of 12, 16, 24, whatever it might be. But you getting in that exact amount of counts isn't as important as doing it correctly. So if you only do 5 right, great, we're proud of you. All right, so just work on your form and the counts, the strength, the speed, all of that will come over time. So we're going to kick it off with the chest, and I'm going to hand it over to Jason.
Yeah, so work the chest today. We're going to show you about 4 different exercises and try to do them properly. Little modifications on each too. First one's going to be the standard push-up. I'm going to start with push-up first. With the standard push-up, we have an option, obviously beginning to advance, to do them from what we call our toes, which is in a plank position, or dropping softly to our knees. Either or, from the toes, I start in a plank position, hands just outside the shoulders, going all the way down to the mat and pushing yourself all the way up. We have a tendency of stopping here and going halfway, but we want to work the full entire chest. And even that plank position, we're going to say a lot back straight, butt down. All right? We can't be in a pike position on this because we still want to work the full entire chest. So even from the knees, my back is straight, my butt's down. I'm pushing all the way down to the mat and pressing all the way up. Kathy and I are going to do 10. You want to do yours from your knees, I'll do mine from your toes. And this is the form we want to do. So we'll do 10. You ready? We're down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Push-ups are very, very hard to do if you do them the right way. Just getting that full range of motion. As we progress to, try to start from our toes. And we do as many as we can from our toes. As soon as we can't do anymore, we drop to our knees.
A lot of times coming into the 10 weeks, we really have a lot of strength to build before we're able to do those push-ups with good form. And so one of the things that you can do to build up to that strength is starting with your plank. So maybe the class is doing push-ups, but maybe you're just working on holding that plank, keeping that back straight, and holding up that body weight. If we're not there yet, we can also do push-ups from the standing position and doing them off the back. So once again, you're still working on keeping your body straight, coming in for that push-up, and pushing out. We're still working that chest, but we're just modifying it a little bit to whatever level we're at coming in.
Yep. Push-ups are hard, but we progress. Modify, doing the right way, move on from there. Next one, we're going to do what we call the standing cross chest fly, using the long band for the standing cross chest fly. On this exercise here, we do want our feet at least shoulder width apart. We're going to go down in a nice comfortable squat position. I always like to say weights in the heels, head up, chest up. Now since we'll be working the chest in that perfect squat position, protecting our lower back, our hands are going to be out. We're going to come across and squeeze that chest. And I like to come back in right in front of the kneecaps. All right, coming across and squeeze. Good example here, our finishing point is going to be making that X with the forearms. I think if we get the hands too high, we're getting our biceps involved. So coming across, making that X with our forearms, and back in place, thinking about that chest working the entire time. Let's try this with 10. Squat position is perfect. Let's bring our hands across and squeeze for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Maybe 5 more. 5, 4, 3, but even with this lighter band color, when I'm coming across and squeezing, I certainly feel that in the chest. It's that little pump you have at the end and releasing slowly from there. Anything to add on that one?
With a lot of these bands exercises, you really want to think about the muscle that you're working and think about your arms being sort of an extension of that, because if you focus too much on just the movement of your arms, you start working your biceps and your shoulders more, whereas if you really think about your chest doing the work, those arms are just an extension of that band, so you're working that chest.
Right. Squeeze, think about the body part we're using. Moving on to what we call the incline press. Incline press still has that long band. If you want to do yours from the side. Place that long band underneath the back foot and put the other foot in a nice, comfortable lunge position. This is exercise, it's okay to have our back slightly arched, because what we're going to do is we're going to bring the long band up, hands out wide, starting from our shoulders. We're going to press up at a 45-degree angle, and we're going to bring it slow and wide back down. Again, we do not want to stop. This is a long way for this long band to go, but we don't want to stop here because we don't want to work half that chest muscle. We want to bring it all the way down, stretch it out, and press back up and squeeze at the top. Now let's try 10 of these. Here we go. We're up for 1, all the way down, slow and wide. 2, 3, 4, pressing at the top. 5, coming back slow and wide. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. So we say the word 45-degree angle right in front, kind of right in front of our nose at the top. If we get any higher than that, we'll start working our shoulders. So we're concentrating that chest all the way up and bringing it back all the way down. Anything to add to that one?
No.
Okay. The last chest exercise we're going to do today is the standing chest fly. And this does require a long band as well, but it doesn't require a heavier band color like you typically would use in an incline press. So on the standing chest fly, we can at least start off our feet wide. And by the time we get used to the exercises, we can bring our feet in for less resistance. But for now, we're going to start with our feet shoulder apart. Palms facing up. Once again, we're concentrating on our chest. With palms facing up, we're going to bring that band up. I like it chin height, squeeze at the top, and releasing that band slowly back down. So we're not starting here and dropping it. We're still resisting. So we're coming up and squeeze and drop it out. Biggest thing I like to do is think about pressing out instead of pulling up. We're pressing with that chest, flexing. Let's try these, set of 10. Here we go again. We got 1, 2, 3. Motion coming down slower. 4. And coming up. 5. 5. Still squeezing that chest. 4. 3. 2. And 1. On this one, again, press out instead of pull up. Anything else on the chest? All right, we're going to move on to the back, and Kathy's going to take us through the back workouts.
All right, we're going to start off with the seated row. So with the seated row, we're going to start off sitting down. You're going to take your band and you're going to place it around on the top of your feet, and you're going to loop it through. So with this exercise, the further apart you have your feet, the more resistance you have. The closer your feet are in together, the less resistance you have. So that's one way to go up in resistance without having to go up in band, is just taking your feet either further out or back in for less resistance. With this exercise, you want to make sure that you're sitting up nice and tall. So you really want to work on that posture. You're going to be taking those handles, those palms come up as you bring that band back. Those elbows stay in nice and tight to that body. You're squeezing that back and then controlling it back in. All right, so just like Jason said said with the chest, you're always controlling that band back out. You control the band doesn't control you. So, sitting up nice and tall, once again, those hands start facing down, those elbows stay in nice and tight to that body, those hands turn over, and then you control it back out. We'll do a count of 10.
Yep.
All right, ready? And we've got 1, squeeze that back. 2, you got it. 3, you should feel it in that mid back. 4, 5, we've got 5. 4, keep those elbows in nice and tight. 3, 2, and 1. Nicely done. We're actually going to stay here. I want to show you guys the seated cross row today. It's an exercise we usually add in about week 3. It's the same setup with your band, but you're actually going to cross those handles this time. With the seated cross row, you're sitting up nice and tall. Once again, handles are crossed. You're bringing those arms parallel to the ground, and then you are controlling it back down. With this exercise, you're going to feel it more in that upper back, so a little bit higher up than what we just did. So, hands stay nice and strong, wrists stay strong. You're controlling it back, wrists are straight, and then controlling it back down. We've got to count to 10. All right? And we've got 1. Squeeze that back. 2, 3, 4. Arms are parallel to the ground. 5. We've got 5. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Anything to add on either of those?
On the seated cross or seated low row, don't be afraid to pop your chest too. Because when we're popping your chest, it feels like we're able to squeeze that back just a little bit more. So coming through, elbows back, pop that chest a little bit, and make sure we're thinking about squeezing that back.
All right. We're going to move on to the standing low row. With the standing low row, you're going to start with that band under both feet. Feet are a little bit wider than shoulder width apart. With this exercise, once again, you're crossing those handles. You're squeezing that back, using that back to pull those bands up. Those elbows stay in nice and tight to that body, and then you are controlling it back down. Notice as you see Jason, his back is straight. You want to keep that head, neck, and back all in line so you can really isolate your back as you do this exercise. So we're going to do a nice slow count of 10. One of the visuals people like to use is putting your guns in your holsters. So your hands should be coming up to about your hip. Alrighty, ready? And 1, 2, really think about that back. 3, elbows stay in. 4, we've got 5, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Nicely done. Anything you'd like to add?
No, just concentrating on those elbows back. This is another exercise we can afford to go up in band color, more resistance. But as long as we get those elbows back as far as we can, we're still working that back and feeling it, even with the lighter color band.
Yep. All right, so last exercise I'm going to go through today for the back is the standing rotator. With the standing rotator, we use what's called the figure 8 band. Looks like an 8. So with the standing rotator, without the band, go ahead and put your elbows in nice and tight to your body with about a 90-degree bend in your arm. That's where you want that band when we go to do this exercise, all right? So if I'm to the side, you can notice those forearms are parallel to the ground. Once again, that back is what's doing the work for this exercise. It is a very small motion. You do not need a lot of band color for this exercise. So think about your back doing the work. Those arms are just an extension of it. It's a small movement. You really want to keep those elbows in nice and tight to that body and let your back do the work. So we've got a count of 10. Ready? And we've got 1, back, 2, squeeze it, 3, that chest comes forward, 4. We've got 5. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Nicely done. And that's all I'm going to hit with the back today. Do you have anything you'd like to add with that, Jason?
No, we hit it all.
All right.
I'm going to move on to the shoulders now. Our shoulders. So we're going to keep that long band or grab that long band. We have the standing shoulder press. The standing shoulder press. As you remember, when we did the incline press, we're pushing out at a 45-degree angle, working that chest. Well, now we're going to be working that shoulder, so we're going to go right above our heads and right back down. So it's a comfort thing here too, so it all depends on your band color. You can step on that band with 2 feet, or for balance purposes, we can go under that band with 1 foot. Hands are going to be out wide, starting at the tip of our shoulders. We're going to press it all the way up, and we're going to bring it down slow and wide. So this is a long range of motion that can be intimidating using that heavier band color, because we have so far to go. And when we always talk about full range of motion, it doesn't mean we stop here and bring it up. We're going to work that whole entire shoulder. So let's go ahead and do 10, and we can talk about this exercise a little bit more. So bands are up, abs tight, back straight. We're going to press all the way up for 1, bring it down slow and wide. 2, slow and wide. 3, 4, 5. We're still bringing it all the way down. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. So working the shoulders, a lot of the shoulders is up and down. So using our bands, sometimes even the yellow band or lightest band needs to be too much. You can still use the weight of our arms, all right, on a lot of these shoulder exercises. And as long as you're concentrating on those shoulders working, you can still feel that burn. So if we get into a situation in class where you're starting to struggle with that yellow band, maybe our hands are off, we can't bring it down all the way, bring it up all the way, drop that band, use those weighty arms. You can use that in these shoulder exercises. And shoulder press?
No.
Moving on to the lateral raise. The lateral raise using a very, very light colored band. If not, modifying with just the weight of our arms. With the lateral raise, we're going to stand underneath that band. Again, start out at least shoulder apart. As soon as we start feeling that resistance, we can bring our feet in. In the lateral raise, very important to keep those abs tight and back straight once again. Hands are going to be out to the side. We're going to bring our arms up laterally. Shoulder height. I always say nothing higher, nothing lower. Shoulder height, and control that band all the way back down to our sides. Coming up and back down. You can have your arms slightly bent on this. You're protecting yourself. So if your arms are straight and you really feel it in your rotator cuff or in your shoulders, try to bend those elbows just a little bit when you're bringing them back out and take that tension off. So let's give lateral raises a shot here. Abs tight, back straight. Here we go. Bring up shoulder height, drop it down slow. We got 2. As you can see the motion going down. 3 is slower than our motion going up. 4, 5, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. You know, lateral raise.
I always like to tell people that if you are bringing your arms up and then touching your legs, you're not controlling it on the way down. And so I always like to have the class start with tension on the band, come up to that T, and then control it down. If you're bringing it up and coming back down to your legs every single time, you're probably not actually controlling it on the way back down.
Yeah,
So,
fight that gravity coming down. Just don't let that band do all the work. We're not going to do this, but all Also, we do with the lateral raise, we do something called the front raise. Okay? Instead of bringing our arms out to the side, we bring them out to the front. Same range of motion, chin height, which is pretty much shoulder height. Bring it chin height and back down. So when you hear us say lateral raises, or we hear us saying front raises, it's the same range of motion, controlling that band down, working them shoulders. Moving on to another shoulder work exercise is the standing reverse fly. We're going to go ahead and pick up our figure 8 band again. Once again, working the shoulders. So we know how to work the back. Hands out in front, elbows in, working the back. This time we're working the shoulders, so our hands will be out front and our arms will be straight. Once I commit to that hand height, we can't have anything higher, arching our back, anything lower, bending our back. Back has to be straight. You're going to hear us say a lot, abs have to be tight. Once our hands are out in front, we're bringing our arms all the way out, touching that band to the tip of our chest, and bringing it in the same line as we came out on, resisting. You're going to hear us a lot say slacken the band too. When we're coming in, bringing that slack in the band, that means we're using momentum to bring it back out. So when coming back in, keep that band still tight. That way we're not using that momentum to kick it back out. Let's try this with a set of 10. Hands out in front, thinking about them shoulders. Bring it out and in slow. 2, and slow. 3, not leaving any slack in the band. 4, 5, 5, 4, nice and controlled. 3, 2, last one, 1. Just keeping everything tight, conservative. There's ways to modify that one too. Sometimes these figure 8 bands obviously have more resistance than the long band. So beginning class, we use a long band for less resistance, but still the same range of motion with this long band. It's just a little bit easier to do, even on the yellow part of the figure 8 band. So ways to modify that one as well. Move on?
Yeah.
All right. Triceps.
Alright, so the triceps are this muscle right here in the back of your arm. So they're opposite of your biceps. With triceps, I always find I don't need a ton of color to work with them. A lot of times I actually end up dropping the band and just using my body weight for resistance. So with tricep kickbacks, we're going to start with straight arm. We do straight arm and bent arm. With the tricep kickbacks, that band's going to go underneath your front foot, and Jason's going to stand off to the side here. But with the tricep kickbacks, you have a bend in that front knee. You're going to tilt over at the hips. Those hands start at your hips. You're pressing it back, almost trying to get those arms parallel to the ground, and then controlling it back to your hips. What tends to happen a lot on this exercise is people will either flick it, so they won't control it back, or they're not actually getting those arms up because they're going too high in band power. So the main thing with this one, control, control, control. With bands, you always want to control that band, but with this one, you really have to think about it. And I encourage you, once you're in the gym, to watch yourself in the mirror to make sure that A, you're getting full range of motion. So you're trying to get that band all the way up as high as you can get it, and to also make sure those hands aren't coming out in front of those hips, trying to use that momentum to kick that band back. So hands start at your hips, you're tilted over, control it up, squeeze that tricep at the top, and then control it back down to those hips. Count to 10?
Yep.
Ready? And 1, squeeze it at the top. 2, you got it. 3, feel those triceps, think about them. 4, we've got 5, we're here for 5. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Nicely done. Anything to add on that one?
Kathy hit it around the nose. It's more about the extension. All the way back, not flicking. 3 muscles in our tricep, big muscles. All the way back and all the way forward.
All right, the next exercise we're gonna do is behind the head press. So you'll need your figure 8 band for this one. If the figure 8 band's a little too much for you, when you're first starting, or even if you've been here a long time, when those muscles get fatigued, you can also use your long band. And you just want your hand and arm position to be the same as what it would be with the figure 8 band. So long band's always a modification for that figure 8 band. All right, so with this exercise, I always like to tell people, if you're a little wider than shoulder width apart, I want you to think about flexing your muscles, all right? So when you do that, your elbows, your arms are parallel to the ground, right? I just want you to turn your hands out. This is the position that we start in for this behind the head press. You're extending it out, squeezing that tricep on the extension, and then controlling it back in. You want to keep your hands in this goalpost position. What you don't want to do is start pulling your arms up here to try and get the band down. When that happens, that means the band is too high of a color and resistance, and so you need to band down and you need to focus on form so that you're using the muscle instead of momentum to move the band. So, go ahead and grab your band if you have one at home. You are starting with those arms and goalposts. Those palms are facing out. Those elbows are even with those shoulders, and that core is tight. With this one, if you have a ponytail or long hair, you do want to make sure that your head is forward just a little bit because you do not want the band to get caught in your hair. It hurts, trust me. So, all right, we've got a count of 10. Ready? And we're here for 1. Squeeze those triceps on that extension. 2. We've got 3. Resist it. 4. Keep tension on that band as you come back. We've got 5. We're here for 5. Resist it. 4. Resist. 3. Control it back in. 2. And 1. Control it in. Nicely done. That's the behind the head press. The next exercise we have is the kneeling tricep extension. So, with this exercise, you can use long band, you can use medicine ball. Those are pretty much your 2 options while you're in here. So, with this exercise, knees are going to be on the band. You want your elbows to stay in nice and tight to your head. So you're resisting up and controlling it back in. You don't want your arms to flare out, all right? At that point, you're not really working your triceps anymore. So, elbows in tight to your head, resist up, control back down. So Jason has a medicine ball that you'll be able to see is the example he's using. I've got the resistance band. So, hands start in that up position, arms are in tight to your head, and we've got a count of 10. We're ready. And we're down and up for 1. Resist it. 2. You got it. 3. Looking good. 4. Squeeze that tricep at the top. 5. We've got 5. 4. 3. 2. And 1. Nicely done. If you're using the band and the band becomes too much, you can actually drop it down to 1 handle. You just hold that band in both hands and keep that exercise going. Anything to add?
Triceps, try to think about this. Our elbows should be used as a hinge, all right? So we don't want to have much movement in those elbows. So when we do, which we're going to show you this, kickbacks, your arms will be hinges. Your elbows will be hinges. Behind the head press, your elbows are hinges. And the kneeling tricep extension, elbows stay high, they don't move. They're used as hinges too. So that really concentrates the focus on those triceps, but if our elbows are moving too much, might lose that focus. So try to keep them still. Pretend they're just locked, and they're just used as a hinge as we do pretty much all these exercises when it comes to triceps.
Okay. All right, so as Jason said, the next exercise we're going to do with triceps are the tricep kickbacks. Once again, this is an exercise you don't need a lot of color on. With this exercise, we're going to be putting that band underneath that front foot. The setup is similar to the straight arm kickbacks, all right? So band underneath front foot, whichever foot's comfortable for you is fine. exercise, you want to roll those shoulders back and those elbows are high. As Jason said, those elbows are a hinge. So the only part of your arm that's really moving here is that forearm. You're extending it back, squeezing that tricep at the top, and then controlling it back in. All right, so you're starting right here, extending it, kicking it back, and coming back in. Once again, control it both ways. You don't want to flick. You really want to get that full extension. I find that I do a better job of getting my elbows high if I'm tilted over at the hips a little bit more. So, band underneath that front foot, roll your shoulders back, you're tilted over at the hips, elbows are high, and kicking it back. Ready? And 1, and back. 2, control it down. 3, you got it. 4, we've got 5, 5, 4, those elbows don't really move. 3, 2, and 1. Nicely done. That is all we're going to show for the triceps today. And I believe Jason has biceps to finish it off.
All right, biceps. Part of our muscle, opposite the tricep. Just get right into it. We got the regular standing curl, using that long band. Our positioning on all of our bicep exercises, at least with our feet, our back straight, abs are tight, is going to be the same. The regular standing curl, pretty simple. Palms will be facing up. We're going to bring that band up. We're going to squeeze at the top and release slowly back down. So you'll hear us say a lot, motion coming up or motion coming down is slower than the motion coming up. It's important that we squeeze at the top, all the way up, all the way down. Pretty simple. Start with your feet at least shoulder apart, abs tight, back straight. We'll do 10. Begin. 1,